Call the meeting to order. Please join me for a flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda and the minutes for February 12th and March 12th.
Second.
I had a first by Steve and a second by Marcia to approve the agenda and the minutes for February 12th and March 12th, if those are the right dates. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I just need you guys to notice that the June board meeting, so our next two board meetings are budget meetings. Well, it's the budget meeting right before the next board meeting in May, and then we have our second budget meeting May 28th. But that June 16th is actually a Monday. It is not a Wednesday. So I need you to take note of that, I guess. And hopefully there's no problems with that. It was some schedule issues for myself and Marcia that we had to do that. All right, let's turn to 2.0, school presentation. Ms. Yee, we'll turn the time over to you.
Okay. Well, I have two seniors here. I've got Holly Bijou and Emmy Weyerbot, and I thought, what better to learn about Coquille Junior Senior High School than just to ask some students about themselves and let them tell you about their experience at Coquille High School and what kind of their plans are for their future. So, I'll start with Holly. What are some different programs that you've been involved in while at Coquille Junior Senior High School? Sure.
So I've been involved in a lot of sports, volleyball, basketball, and track. We've been pretty successful, like 2 league titles in volleyball, 3 in volleyball, 2 in basketball, and a clean sweep in track, 3 district and 3 state titles. So it's, and I'm also involved in the National Honor Society. So that's pretty cool too. We do like a clothing drive, we do an animal shelter, we do some tutoring and stuff, so that's really cool to get involved with the community and stuff.
Awesome.
I'm also involved in a lot of sports. I do soccer. I used to do basketball and track. I'm in National Honor Society. I'm on ASB, which is Associated Student Body. I started doing broadcasting this year, which is a cool experience. And I believe that's all for the school.
Okay, what is your favorite experience from high school?
So I've had a lot, the 3P and the state titles, first state title was pretty cool. Also, right when I got into high school my freshman year, it was cool seeing the boys football team go up and win a state title. I mean, it really set the whole high school for me, so yeah, it was cool.
I mean, I'm gonna have to say the same as Holly. I think in a 3P, our freshman year, sophomore year, and junior year is just like mind-blowing, and being the first women's like state title is just like probably the best experience you can get throughout high school. So I mean, that's my answer too.
Yes, and both of these ladies played a very important role in those 3 state titles. What do you believe is the most valuable experience from high school?
So the coolest moment was going to the state tournament in volleyball and basketball. It was just like getting there with my team, all the hard work it took to get into that moment, and just the community coming out and supporting us at our games was really cool to see.
I think the most valuable for me would have to be, there's a couple. Soccer we didn't do as great, but that taught me a lot. Like being captain and trying to get everybody to persevere through like not being the best team. It's hard, but it was a good, it taught me a lot. And then especially being on ASB too. I was a pretty shy kid, but being put in that position has really taught me to be outgoing, to be able to talk to people and all of that, and like not, Coquille's really made it so that I can be comfortable speaking in front of people and put me out of my comfort zone. And that broadcasting position I wouldn't have done without ASB, and that kind of led me to where I want to do in college. So.
Yeah. I mean, talk a little bit more about the broadcasting.
So this year I did broadcasting because I wasn't participating in basketball. And so I did it with Lee and Dan. And I pretty much commentated on the games, and it was pretty great. I got a broadcasting scholarship for $500. So, I mean, it's just opened a lot of doors for me, and that's what I'd like to go do in college. So, yeah.
So if any of you listened to the basketball games and heard Holly play or were watching Holly play, you heard Emmy's voice broadcasting what was going on, and it was really great and cool to see. What is your biggest accomplishment?
So I have a few. I've been Player of the Year in volleyball and basketball, and I also have 3 individual state titles in track, and also the team state titles. But I would say my favorite is probably getting the school record for the discus. It was just all the work I put in finally really paid off, and so looking for the shot put record this year. So we'll see how that goes.
And maybe another discus record, right?
My biggest accomplishment. I mean, there's a few. Like I just said, like being in the positions I am in NHS and ASB are like pretty big to me. Like I'm ASB president this year and everything, so I thought that was a pretty big accomplishment. And being able to hold my grades this year. I mean, it's just been kind of hard, and being on honor roll my entire life and having like a 3.94. That's pretty big to me. And definitely the state titles, obviously. So, yeah.
Okay, and what are your plans for the future?
So I plan to go to West Point, the United States Military Academy. I tell people I want to study kinesiology, but to be honest, I'm really not sure yet. It's so far into the future that I'm still really deciding, but I just know that that path will be good for me, and I'll have a lot of options. And just serving in the military, I'll be contributing to something that's bigger than myself, really.
My plans for the future, I got a scholarship for U of O, so I got full tuition there. So I got that due to my GPA and financial need, which is amazing. So I'm going there for 4 years. And I plan to, like my major, the base will be journalism and communications, and then I'll kind of minor in sports media so that I can keep doing the commentating and stuff like that.
Okay, and do you all have any questions for Holly or Emmy?
Who's your favorite teacher? No, don't answer. Who's your favorite principal? Good job. West Point. All right.
Have you been to New York before?
I have.
Okay.
Been there once. It was really cool. It was like a castle at West Point. All the people were really nice too. So.
Yep. Holly visited it over spring break.
Okay, cool.
And they went to the Statue of Liberty, right?
Oh yeah.
So Emmy, I've heard there's a whole bunch of girls from your class that are going to U of O.
Yeah,
this
I
year,
think-
which I think is super impressive.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a total of 6 of us.
Wow.
I mean, 4 in Coquille, there's 1 in Coos Bay, and then one of my friends that used to go here from Eugene is going to. So yeah, there's a few of us. I think there's 6 total at Coquille, I believe. So, yeah.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, it's exciting. It'll be nice to have people I'm familiar with too. Like, just going in there blindly is like a little scary, but I have a couple friends, so that'll be nice.
Well, I think we wish you guys the best of luck. We really do. And we hope to see you back here in a few years telling us about all the amazing things you've done since in your college careers and your lives after that. Anybody else have questions?
All right.
Good job.
Thank you. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Sharp girls.
Okay, we'll move on to our, a presentation, 3.0. I almost skipped that. Tanya, for Title VI OASIE, is that how you don't say OC, do you?
We call it the OEC. I'm here to present to the board some information about our Title VI grant, which funds our American Indian and Alaskan Native students. Through the hard work of Julie Simpson, our liaison this year, we've been able to increase the number of students who are vetted and enrolled in our program, which has resulted in us receiving a disbursement of $12,745, which is an increase over last year's $7,551. So this has brought more revenue in to support our students. And one of the things that we report on in our application for this funding are the goals that our committee, our parent committee, has established. And those are to increase academic achievement overall for our AIAN students. And Julie Simpson has been hosting a tutoring session here at the district office once a week for students who might be seeking that support. Another goal is to increase the exposure to post-high school opportunities and college, and this is being implemented in large part by our academic counselors and also Ms. Sandra Sperling in Tiffany Clapper's building, who is leading our TRIO program, which gives students exposure and opportunity to post-high school opportunities. And our third goal is to increase the connection of our students to their history, their tribal history, but also the history of our area. And we've done that through having some engagement nights where Julie Simpson has done things like prepare fry bread, kids have done some beading, and we've had some different cultural connection opportunities. So next year, as we are receiving some additional funds, we're going to again allocate, as we have done previously, the funding for the stipend for the person who is the AIAN liaison. And in consultation with our tribal connection, our tribal liaison, Marsha Frost from the Coquille tribe, we are that funding towards some additional community engagement activities, hopefully bringing food, family, and craft cultural experiences together to just increase the connection that our students have with their district and we with them. We've submitted our application. It's due on the 15th of April. We haven't heard yet if we have been approved, but we will hear soon. Does the board have any questions for me? Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our program and school written reports. And I always skip somebody, so I'll try not to this time. So Winter Lakes High School. Any questions about there? I actually have a question. The team organ build, so they're funding us or something? Because you had that.
Yeah, we got the grant for this, and we get about $30,000 worth of materials to build these sheds that are approved by the federal government and this company. And once we produce those bills based off of all the paperwork and stats and all the stuff that we got blueprints, then we can donate them back to the community, and then we get refunded of materials for the next year. And the goal of this program is to really help bridge the gaps between the education and the workforce.
So, and it sounds like it's continuing every year. It would just keep
As long as we produce the bills.
as long as you produce the bills, which is great. I mean, that's a great way for us to get resources.
If you
right?
want to come look at them, we just moved one outside so we can put the roof on.
Oh, okay. Great.
Just come check it out.
Any questions for Tiffany? Maybe Steve better go check out that shed, see if it's up to standards.
Put your spare parts in there.
Okay, let's move on to Coquille Junior High. Any questions for Mr. Dixon?
I am super excited about the FFA plant sale. I guess that's for both junior high and high school. I went last year, super cool.
All right, for the high school, for Ms. Yee, any questions? It's that busy time of year where everyone has everything from festivals to concerts to track meets to graduation stuff. I'm also excited about the plant stuff. Any questions? Okay, how about for CVE? I guess I didn't realize the carnival was coming up so fast.
Yeah, I guess it's almost May.
Yeah, and it's the beginning of May.
Yep.
The Smart Pass, so is it the students that have it, or?
Yeah, it's something that is, we're gonna try to do this end of the year. It's a way to get a hall pass, and they're just gonna do it online. And we're gonna, actually, we haven't even started yet. We're gonna start it next week. It's like a free trial. We're gonna see if that's something we want to do for next year. But it's to get some data on kids being out of class.
So do you log in, kind of thing, to say I got a hall pass, or do they give you some electronic thing?
They get on the computer,
Oh, and say,
and they just create a hall pass, and then their teacher just, or actually, they just be approved to go, and their teacher gets the data and knows who's been out of class and how long, and things like that.
okay, so is it to track if the same students are out of class, or how
It's
long
track
kids?
a lot of different things. It'll give you a lot of useful data.
Okay,
But yeah, that's, sometimes you have kids that are out in the hall more than others, and you want to know that information. So it's just a tool that we're going to use to get some data to see if you like it or not.
any other questions for Mr. Ruiz? All right, Winter Lakes Elementary. So have you also just started, I'm sorry that I didn't read yours ahead of time. It wasn't in on Monday when I read it. It does. I read the rest of them that Julie sent to us on Monday. So the state testing, you're doing it, is that at the same time as the CVE testing? Or you don't know? It's just,
Perhaps.
okay. I didn't know if there was like a rule that like third graders go now.
There is. Mrs. Cinco sets up the parameters for us and helps guide each of our schools through state testing and works with each of our buildings. And yeah, we started April 1st, no complaint.
Okay.
It was, and kids are doing really well. It's just learning on a computer, which is, there's no resistance at all. Very few opt-outs this year. And so this is a different change up. So we'll see what that.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Lincoln School of Early Learning. I was gonna say, I saw Amy here earlier.
Lincoln is hosting the pre-K kindergarten roundup, which is
Tomorrow.
From 5 to 6:30. So we are looking forward to that. And Mrs. Cinco will be over there as well, giving out some information about Winter Lakes Elementary as an option.
Okay, good. Hopefully we have a good turnout for that.
Yes, yeah, it'll be good.
What is our percentage of kids that usually come to kindergarten but don't come to roundup? Do you know? Like, is it like 20 extra kids or double?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of varies. It gives us a good range, but we always end up with more kids come August.
All right. Any questions for Tanya, our curriculum director? Okay. CTE special programs, Mr. Philly, any questions for him? Okay. Any questions for Mr. Jones, our athletic director? I was just at the track meet in Marshfield for a little bit before I came here. Beautiful weather, kids were having fun. It was so nice. Just
They look good in their new warm-ups.
I guess. I don't know. Yeah, they look good during the warm-ups. So.
I have a question here, Julie. Would this be an appropriate time to Coach Wallace?
I think Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
I just know he wanted to speak, so go ahead.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
His name is Lanier. He is 129 days old. That's my math teacher for you. I'm up here seeking approval from the board to use the funds in my soccer account to take the team this summer to Seattle, out of state, for the Club World Cup, which is, it's a competition that happens every 4 years. You're probably aware of the World Cup, which happens between, international, so USA would play Mexico. But the Club World Cup is like if the Lakers were playing, I don't know, another international basketball team. So it's the best teams from each country, and they normally just do the top team that plays, but this year they've expanded it to do the best couple teams from each continent to play. And so I'm really excited to bring the guys, hopefully, because it's going to be some of the European teams, which are the best teams in the world, and they'll be over here playing, and hopefully an American team can get an upset, because we're hopefully going to see the Sounders play the Inter Milan. So that would be one of the games we're hopeful to attend. So that's my little spiel, but we would travel on the 19th and come back on the 21st, and game on the 19th, game on the 21st of June. Yes, so right when we get out of school.
Okay.
I'll put it on for consent.
We can add that to that.
Consent agenda?
Discussion action.
Or discussion action? Okay, do we need a motion to do that, to add it to that?
Yeah, to add.
Or what, we can wait till we get to it.
7.3 when we get there, yeah.
Okay.
Add 7.3 out of state.
I know Marshall will appreciate it because I can steal Ian for a weekend.
We'll be back from Cabo by then, so you'll be free.
Good.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to 4.10, Technology Supervisor Rashad. Does anyone have any questions for him? Glad all our intercoms are now up and working, sounds like.
Yes. And all 4 of the schools that they were installed at, they're all operational and working. Today I walked through with our representative from the company, and we met with a couple of the schools that did some finished training at CVE. We went up to Lincoln and looked at a couple of discrepancies that they're going to be touching on.
Good.
Our schools have already developed some Bell's curriculums. We've been using the system quite a bit. It's pretty cool. I've seen a lot of positive reactions to the new intercom.
I'm glad to hear that. Okay, now let's move on to 4.11, Transportation Supervisor. Any questions for Nate?
Looks like you're going to be a new maintenance on the vehicle guy too? Like, can I add that to your belt?
More of an inspector, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's my goal.
Okay. Food Services. Does anybody have any questions for Marcy? The food out there was very, very good.
Those cookies.
Do the kids get that good of food? I don't know that they do for school meals.
We don't have the budget for that,
right? All right, any questions for John Owens, our school resource deputy? So have you started already taking, like filling up for summertime?
Yeah, it's my understanding we have, the goal is 15 drivers. We've got 12 right now.
Oh, good.
And then we've got some wait, so we can fill with our students, 3. And if not, then there's some out of the district.
That would want it?
Yeah.
Well, good. I tell people about it all the time. I'm like, your child can't we should do this. This would be a good thing for all of us, so we can all be safe. All right, any questions for Jeff about maintenance? Yes, you said the track's ready for Friday?
Yeah, we'll blow the pine needles off Friday afternoon, right before the meet. We're in good shape.
Well, let's hope the weather is as nice as it is today.
I think Friday should be good.
I don't think it's going to be as warm, but no rain, so I guess it's
good.
All right, let's go to our fiscal report. Turn the time over to Denise, or do you have anything to say, or should I just ask for questions?
No, I don't really have anything to say this time.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Denise? I'm sure you've been super busy getting ready for our budget meetings that are coming up next month.
Yes.
Okay, if no one has any questions for her, then we will turn to our superintendent's report, and I'll turn the time over to you, Mr. Gallagher.
Looking at our population report, you'll notice that in the month of March, we were at 1,224 students. That is actually down 48 students from where we were this time last year. If you remember last month, I reported that we were, I believe, 42 down. Now we're at 48. So continuing to monitor and watch that population.
What did we set our budget at?
We set our budget for next year at 1,200.
Well, for this year.
For this year at 1,220.
Okay.
And we have been above that all year, but as you can see, yeah, we're getting close, and we want to meet that average.
So do we take all the months and then it's your average, or is it from October to?
My understanding is that part of it is your average, but we do take an October 1 ADMR, and then we do a May ADMR as well.
Okay.
As far as communications, we did have some email communications that went to the board. I did have an opportunity to talk to Ms. Yee about that. Ms. Yee has met with the parent, and that is a requirement that I want to make sure that parents have a chance to talk to the other principals before I talk to them.
Is that this email?
So I will.
Yes, I
So I will respond to this email tomorrow.
Okay.
And then I wanted to point out to the board in your packet, you have a loose leaf of the board goals that we discussed in our work session last month. I did take that input from the board and make sure that we included everything. Obviously, I know the board's going to vote on this, but if there's additional things the board wants to add or tweak or change, we can do that during discussion action. Other things that have come out recently, there's been lots of conversation about demands from the federal government. The latest one that's come out is the demanding of all superintendents having to sign assurances that we are not providing DEI opportunities in our district. And so right now, that is currently, ODE has asked all superintendents to wait. Our deadline is next Wednesday. And as you're aware, there's several things that have come out of the federal government that put superintendents in challenging situations because Oregon law is currently in contradiction with federal law based on some new executive orders. So that is one thing that's coming up very soon that I'm keeping my eye on, but ODE has specifically requested that superintendents wait until next week before we sign anything as far as that could go to the federal government. My concern is that what it says right now is if I do not sign that, then we forfeit all federal funds. And that would be absolutely devastating for our district. So definitely something that's on my mind. Obviously, I don't want to violate Oregon law, don't want to violate federal law. I want to help kids grow and become the best possible students they can. But That is something that some of you may have heard, and if you haven't heard, that is something that's coming to a head next week. Also, other federal program restrictions, there have been several grants that are going directly to ODE that have been revoked. So far, there hasn't been a grant that we are currently receiving that has been revoked, but there have been several grants that are directly tied to Oregon Department of Education that have been revoked. So definitely something we're really trying to keep our eyes on and a real concern. But that assurances, again, you've probably heard, it's been national news as far as there have been big districts in Colorado and California, and now Oregon is in the crosshairs, and they're saying that district superintendents either sign it or you forfeit all your federal funds. So we're trying to find a way to navigate that in such a way that we can continue to support all of our students, no matter whom they are, but yet make sure that we're staying within the guidelines of state law and federal law. And at the moment, they're definitely contradicting one another in the area of DEI. So I will keep the board posted on that. You said everything else I have is share in the executive session.
Okay. Okay. All right, let's move on to discussion action. So we have the goals in front of us for 7.1. And then does someone want to explain 7.2? Is that what this is?
7.2 is a resolution. I would defer that to Denise to be able to explain why we need to make that switch.
We need to change the appropriations for the general fund for our major function 1,000. We do not have enough appropriations for salaries at this moment in time, so we need to move some of those appropriations from our major function 2,000 to cover. We're not over in our Fund 100 budget, but it's just by the major function that some money, that appropriations need to be moved. And you will see that same thing for the special revenue. We just need to move money within the Fund 200 by the major functions. So we're not over our budget. We're still projecting that we're going to be at the end of the year, if we were to end the school year right now, it'd be $1.4 million in our ending fund balance. So we're not over our budget. We just need to move them from major functions. Does anybody have any questions on that? I know it's a little...
I deal with this stuff all day. I completely know what you're talking about.
Good, because I know.
100%, I'm with you.
Yeah.
If the board will.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And if someone is willing to add 7.3 of approving out-of-state travel for the boys soccer team.
I'll make a motion to move, or to add 7.3, the out-of-state travel for the boys soccer, to discussion action items.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Marcia to add 7.3 out-of-state travel for the boys soccer team to the discussion action, as a discussion action item, and a second by Lucas. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we need, someone want to make a motion to approve those three things?
I'll make a motion to approve 7.1 through 7.3 of discussion action items.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Marcia to approve 7.1 through 7.3 and a second by Lucas. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, let's move to the consent agenda.
Lots of money coming in for track. There's lots of money coming in for track.
Does anyone want to make a motion to?
Yeah, I'll make that motion that we approve tonight's consent agenda with 8-1 through 8-8.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Steve to approve 8.1 through 8.8 and a second by Marcia. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we'll move to 9.0, staff and public comments. Do we have any?
I think we had Mike, but we took him early.
Yeah, which is better. So we can
Yeah.
get that right. Okay. We will now move to 10.0 executive session to consider information or records that are exempt from disclosure by law, including written advice from your attorney, ORS 192.6602F, and to consult with your attorney regarding your legal rights and duties in regard to current litigation or litigation that is more likely than not to be filed, ORS 192.6602H. Okay, should we go upstairs? Do I have to gavel this out?
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion. I move that the Coquille School District Board of Directors authorizes the superintendent to identify and implement budget reductions totaling up to $1.5 million for 2025 and 2026 fiscal year. These reductions shall be made in alignment with district priorities, strategic goals, and legal requirements. The superintendent will keep the board informed of proposed cuts and provide regular updates as reductions are identified and implemented.
Second.
I had a motion by Steve and a second by Marcia to authorize the superintendent to make budget cuts for next school year. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.